Welcome back to For Real. I hope you're having a fantastic week so far. Thank you so much for liking our videos, subscribing to our channel, and also hitting the bell icon to get notifications when we upload new videos. Doing these things helps us to get more views, and more views means YouTube pays us more money. All the money we make is donated to charities here in Cambodia. In the description of this and every video, you can see how much we've given and who we've given it to. October earnings are just in, and you have helped us to earn $330. Once we donate these funds tomorrow, our total donated will be sitting at $1,349 or $1,791 Australian. Don't forget, you can join us over on Instagram for other bits and pieces between videos too. Today's accompanying ride is the final part of our ride up Bacoor, and it's a fitting farewell to the southern region as we are now located in Phnom Penh, but more on that in another video. Let's get started. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of October 2021. The Kingdom has today recorded its 27th day of low case numbers with only 111 new cases. This has led to today's first breaking news story. We're going to have a Sandbox. This scheme is going to allow quarantine-free entry for fully vaccinated travellers. The Sandbox will be possible in 3 different places, so you can choose Sihanoukville, Koh Rong Island, or the Darussakur Resort in Koh Kong Province from the 30th of November. The Sandbox scheme is called Quarantine-Free Safe Tourism Package. What are the details, you ask? Well, you have to fly into Sihanoukville Airport and you have to stay in one of those 3 places for 5 days. After the 5 days are up, you'll be allowed to travel freely around the kingdom. This same scheme is going to be expanded to include Siem Reap in January. Is there a catch? Yes, a small one or a large one, depending on how you look at it. Travellers entering the kingdom must arrive as part of a tour group, or they must be families or small groups who are high-end tourists. There isn't any further detail about what constitutes a high-end tourist, and it's a strange term to use, but I'm thinking they will restrict people to a small number of hotels so they can track their movements. These hotels are likely to be expensive ones, and that's why they are saying visitors will be high-end. On the plus side, travellers will be free to come and go from the hotel, so if you think of it as a luxury 5-night stay ahead of your time travelling around the kingdom, it becomes a bit more bearable. Once they expand the scheme to include Siem Reap, travellers might even be able to visit the temples during the 5 days before they can leave the province. You might remember the QR code system that we talked about last week. It has 4 categories: blue, green, yellow and red. Blue means that you're fully vaccinated and pose no risk if you enter a business, hospital, shop, whatever. Green means your vaccination status is incomplete or you are not yet registered. You can be denied entry until you are vaccinated or registered and able to be considered in the blue category. Orange means you have been in contact with an infected person either directly or indirectly during the last 14 days and or you have not completed your obligatory quarantine. Red means you are at a high risk of being infected with COVID and should self-quarantine. I can see this system being used with the new arrivals under the Sandbox scheme. But wait, there's still more breaking news. Before we get to it though, just a little disclaimer that, as with any news of this kind, it might take a few weeks for all of the details to be clarified. But with that, there is further good news for the kingdom's reopening. Cambodia will allow Thai nationals and foreign travellers in Thailand to fly into the country without quarantine. The Thai government has announced that vaccinated arrivals from 46 different countries will not need to do quarantine, starting from the 1st of November. Check the comments to see the full list of the 46 countries. I've left an article that has them in there. But just to let you know, the UK, the US, Australia, Canada and New Zealand are all included in that list. So technically you could fly into Thailand, then into Cambodia, but there's no concrete or even clay-based regulations released yet. I'm guessing there will be a requirement to have been in Thailand for a certain amount of time prior to coming to Cambodia, but it is another avenue of getting into the kingdom that can be explored if you are vaccinated and not keen on a strict hotel-based quarantine. And let's face it, who is? As it stands right now, there are just 5 commercial passenger flights arriving in Cambodia each day. They are from Taiwan, China, Singapore and Korea. You can look at the Phnom Penh Airport's website to see the actual arrivals and departures. It's quite interesting. I'll leave a link to that in the comments if you want to check it out yourself. I digress though. This is also about to change. Cambodia has just lifted the temporary flight ban from Malaysia, the Philippines and Indonesia. This ban was in place for almost 15 months and will be good news for people waiting in those countries. The website Our World in Data has placed Cambodia 9th globally for the highest vaccination rates. Singapore and Cambodia are the only ASEAN countries in the top 10. The government's massive vaccination campaign has led to successes in the country's progress towards the new normal. With the planned reopening of the country in November, everyone is hoping that the economy will be able to recover. Since the 17th of September, when the vaccination of the 12 to 17-year-old age group began, the percentage of children vaccinated with at least one dose has crossed the 100% mark and now stands at 100.54%. This is an outstanding achievement given the short time frame of under 40 days. A few days earlier, the vaccination percentage for this group was reported at 103. More than 100%? That's impossible, isn't it? Well, the initial estimates of 1,897,382 to be vaccinated were based on the 2019 census. So with more than 1,907,695 having received their first dose, it actually means that more children have received a COVID vaccine than expected based on the census numbers. I guess those children were below the 12-year-old age group at that time. This is great news for the reopening of schools for all grades on the 1st of November. Prime Minister Hun Sen has declared that there will be no more closure of schools, places of businesses or markets if a case of COVID-19 was to be found in any of those locations. He said that from now on, if there are cases of infection in factories or other places, there will be no closure of the entire location, and that only the COVID-19 positive person will be treated at a designated facility and the location will be disinfected. The operation of the location where the case is found would continue as normal after the disinfection has taken place. It's time to reopen the economy fully, and such closures have negative impacts on the people as well as the businesses or schools where the infection is detected. With this new announcement and decision, businesses need no longer fear facing a shutdown. However, they must also continue to observe adequate safety measures, as well as scanning of QR codes and requiring vaccination cards prior to the entry of a premises. Sihanoukville's China project was back in the news this week. It's a really interesting and disturbing story that will hopefully end shortly. There are rumoured to be hundreds of foreign nationals who have been trapped within the 11-building complex called China Project. 41 Indonesian nationals have been released, and they are said to be among hundreds who are lured into working in the China Project complex based on the promises of lucrative salaries, together with free board and lodgings. The Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Cambodia played a major role in rescuing the 41 when they reached out to the Sihanoukville authorities for assistance. The group said they had to endure beatings and other forms of mental pressure. Members of the 41-strong group managed to contact their family members in Indonesia and passed on the details of the group's number, where they were trapped, and they pleaded for help to be rescued. Others have been reported to be also desperate to leave or be rescued, but they have seen very little action taken despite the extensive focus on the project. We have reported on several stories about the China project, plus we'll leave a link to this story in the comments. Let's hope the increased pressure from the Cambodian government and police will lead to everything being sorted out shortly. Just a quick word now about visas, since there were some questions about them in last week's comments. We're no experts on this, and as I always say, join the Facebook group Cambodia Visa and Work Permits. It's the best source of information and the best place to read up and get all the information that you need. There has been no information so far about when the E-type visa will be re-established. The tourist visa or lowercase e visa is valid for 30 days and can be extended for a further 30 days. You must get it online, as it is not yet possible to get a tourist visa on arrival. It's also not possible to change from a tourist visa to an E-type visa within Cambodia. Although I did see a travel agent offering that service just today, so I might be wrong about that. If you're looking to stay long-term, you'll either need to wait for the reintroduction of the E-type visa or find an employer who is willing to support your visa application to your closest Cambodian embassy or consulate. At this stage, it's not possible to get a retirement extension because the base visa, which is the E-type visa, is not currently being issued. As soon as we hear of developments about this, we will let you know. Just one last little thing. Khmer Times has just published an article about foreigners owning land in Cambodia. There's some good information in that article, and if it's something you're interested in, I suggest that you have a look at that. I will leave a link to that in the comments with all of the other articles. That brings us to the end of this week's News Moto. We hope you've enjoyed this update, and if you did, feel free to subscribe, drop us a line, and we'll see you in our next video. Oh, almost forgot to say, check out the other people that are making content in Cambodia in the description of this video. Show them some love, give them a bit of support. It's all good. Bye.